It's a town made of plastic, except for the people. Everything is fake. Flowers are made of plastic. Grass is made of plastic. Fish are made of plastic. Even the feelings between people are made of plastic. And their trees? Of course, they're artificial. They light up when they're electrified. Like this new one. It turns green, red and gray. There's even a disco mode for the elderly. And the only currency in town is fresh air. For $100, you can inhale it. All the inhabitants were immersed in what seemed like a beautiful town. But no one could have imagined that this teenager, Pete, was about to break it all. Just a few days ago, Pete was riding around the town. He was surprised to find a steel wall. There was a door opener on the wall. When he pressed it, a number of stairs appeared. He followed the stairs and eventually came to a small door. Pete flipped the switch. He stepped through the door. He was shocked. The pipes were pouring out pungent gases. The dirty sewage was pouring out. And when he walked out the other door, he couldn't believe his eyes. It was a bleak wilderness. It was a far cry from the gorgeous town within its walls. It made Pete even more determined to drive farther. He realized that this place was a mess and deserted. But there were signs. That there were signs of human life here. He didn't know how long he'd been traveling. He finally came to a house. There was a light in the window. It looked like someone was inside. Curious, he rang the doorbell, but he didn't realize he'd triggered the mechanism.
Who are you and what are you doing here?
Turns out it was an old man who lived there. The old man kicked Pete out without a word. The next day, Pete was persistent. He secretly rode his motorbike again. He was going to visit the old man again, but this time, he was not careful. He ran into two big men in suits. Pete was too scared to move. A car came along in the distance. The mayor swaggered down. He threatened Pete. If you try to walk through that wall again, I'll beat up your whole family. Peter was still trying to play dumb. The mayor grabbed him by the collar. He told Pete where his grandmother was going today. It turns out the whole town is covered in cameras. Even the baby on the billboard. The mascot on the rubbish bin. They're all hidden cameras. After that, the mayor swaggered back to the car. Pete appeared to have given in, but he wasn't going to give up that easily. While the mayor was gone, he slipped out of town to find the old man, because Pete was so sincere. The old man finally began to tell him stories of his youth. This young handsome spiritual guy in front of me has a heart for entrepreneurship. He left his hometown, across the fields, across the desert, and he's got it all worked out. He finally came to this magical forest. Oh, my God. Not only are there fish that walk upright, and bears that build ladders, a babbling brook, birds that fly, and more importantly, he found a tree that would make him rich. Wasn't this fluffy willow the new material he'd been searching for? He defied the animals. He took an axe and cut down the first tree in the forest. And when he looked around, the animals had vanished in an instant. But he didn't care. With the willow he cut down, he began to invent. The next day, his invention was born. Not only could this pile of wool be used as clothing, it could also be used as a rag. Not only that, it was also highly absorbent. He immediately took his new invention to the town to sell it. And what's even more bizarre, this multifunctional piece of wool became a hat. It was an instant hit. And then the whole world was looking for him. Everyone wanted him to make more. Greed filled the guy's brain with a desire to make money. Soon he was cutting down all the trees in the forest. To make more hats, he bought processing machines. He set up a factory to make the hats. The factory fumes made the birds lose their feathers. Sewage makes fish homeless. But the boy couldn't care less. He's already made money that's as high as a couple of buildings. And with it, the animals are dwindling. There are few trees left to cut down. Looking at the bare wasteland, the boy realized what a mistake he had made. Now he's an old man. He couldn't face the bad things he'd done. He gave up money and fame. He wanted to live in seclusion. But what he didn't realize, that the young man in front of him, Peter, would still want to hear his story. He gave Peter a seed, in the hope that his only hope, to change that strange town. The old man's story inspired Pete's heart. He was going to take the seed with him, to plant the first tree in town. But what he didn't count on, there was a hidden camera watching it all. He's got his seatbelt on and his helmet on. The evil mayor was about to destroy the last of Pete's seeds. But before he could catch up with Pete, Pete and Grandma are on the roof with the seeds. The mayor took out his launcher and shot it up to the roof.
Whoa! Loser! Oh, really?
And the big fan behind them blew the seeds out of their hands. The flying seeds fell into a bucket, but the bouncer was not careful. Knocked all the buckets out of the car. All the buckets rolled down the street. They searched high and low. They finally found it. The bucket with the seeds in it. The mayor tried to take it out, but his hand got stuck inside. He asked his bodyguard to help him pull it out. And then, just in time, Pete drove up. He's got the seed. Now it's time to figure out where to plant the trees. They arrived at the center of the park. But the grass here is fake. There wasn't any dirt. Grandma had an idea. She climbed on a tractor by the side of the road. She shot down the mayor's statue. And sure enough, dirt appeared. But their actions drew a crowd of spectators and chastisement. Pete explained that he just wanted to plant a tree. To which the passers-by retorted, "What's wrong with our tree of lights?" The mayor chimed in, "Trees only put us in danger." The brainwashed passers-by not only believed the mayor, they surrounded them. They had no choice. Peter climbed into the tractor. He drove as hard as he could towards the wall. 1, 2, 3, and the wall fell down. It was only then that people realized it was a smoky wasteland out there. Peter climbed on top of the car, and he showed them the seed of hope. And now the seed has sprouted a tiny seedling. Pete explained again that if you plant this seed, the trees that will grow will give people fresh air for free. No more need to pay for it. People were stunned. They couldn't believe that this little gadget had such a powerful function. Although the mayor is still trying to convince them. But facing this sapling in front of them, people chose to believe Pete. Seeing the light from afar, the old man also felt relieved. Tears welled up in his eyes. The seed that was planted. With a little more water, the little sapling is slowly growing. Cherishing trees means cherishing our common home.